The sun was setting over the vibrant city of New Haven, casting a warm glow over the streets filled with life. Families were finishing their dinners, children played in parks, and the soft sounds of laughter echoed through the air. The sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, a picture of peace that felt unbreakable. But this serene moment was about to shatter in an instant. Without warning, a dark shadow loomed overhead. The once clear sky turned ominous as an enormous alien fleet descended from the stars, their ships resembling giant metal beasts. Fear rippled through the streets as people stopped to gaze upward, their smiles fading into expressions of horror. Drones, sleek and menacing with advanced cloaking technology, poured out from the belly of the ships, blending into the sky for only a moment before revealing their terrifying presence. Among the chaos, Captain Alex Mercer, a soldier who had yet to see true battle, stood frozen in shock. Just a day ago, he was training in a dusty military camp, dreaming of glory and adventure. Now that dream felt so distant as he watched the destruction unfold before his eyes. The drones began their assault, firing energy beams that sliced through buildings and sent flames roaring into the air. People screamed and scattered, desperate to escape the chaos. Alex's heart raced as he ducked into an alley, trying to gather his thoughts amid the deafening noise. He could hear the distant cries of those trapped in the flames, and a deep sense of dread filled him. This was no mere attack, it was a massacre. He couldn't just stand by and watch. Alex was determined to help. He sprinted towards the nearest gathering point, where he knew people were trying to organize an escape. As he ran, he caught sight of a group of civilians trapped under debris. Without thinking, he rushed toward them. "We need to get out of here," he shouted, his voice hoarse with urgency. The terrified faces turned towards him, eyes wide with fear. Just as he reached to help them, a drone swooped down, its laser aimed directly at him. Time seemed to freeze as Alex dove to the side, narrowly avoiding the blast. The heat of the energy beam singed his arm, but he barely felt the pain. His adrenaline was surging. He had to keep moving. He couldn't let fear paralyze him. In that moment, the reality of war washed over him, and a burning desire for vengeance ignited within. He could no longer be just a soldier in training. He had to fight for the people who could not defend themselves. In the midst of the chaos, Alex finally reached a small group of survivors. "We need to regroup and plan our next move," he urged, his voice steady despite the panic swirling around them. As they gathered together, Alex felt a mix of doubt and determination. Could he really lead these people to safety? But the loss he witnessed fueled his resolve. With the city burning and innocent lives lost, Alex's perspective changed. He could not be the soldier who hesitated. He had to become a leader, not just for himself, but for everyone around him. As they strategized their escape, he realized that every moment mattered, and he was willing to put everything on the line to save those he could. Amid the noise and confusion, a bond began to form between Alex and the survivors. They looked to him for guidance, and that trust weighed heavily on his shoulders. Alex's eyes scanned the chaos, seeing the horrors that the alien fleet was inflicting on his home. It was then he vowed that he would find a way to turn the tide. The sky darkened as more alien ships arrived, but within Alex, a fire ignited. He was no longer just a scared soldier. He was a man driven by a newfound purpose. The fight for humanity was just beginning, and he would do whatever it took to protect his people. With his heart pounding and determination rising, Alex knew that this was the moment he had been waiting for, a chance to rise from the ashes of despair and become a beacon of hope. The true battle for survival was about to commence. In the wake of the attack, the streets of New Haven were in ruins. The once vibrant city now lay in smoldering silence, a haunting reminder of the devastation wrought by the alien fleet. As the smoke cleared, Captain Alex Mercer felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. He knew that simply surviving was not enough. They had to fight back. With this thought burning in his mind, Alex set out to gather the survivors. He moved through the rubble, calling out for anyone who could hear him. "If you're still alive, we need to come together." Slowly, people began to emerge from hiding places. Among them were engineers, scientists, and fellow soldiers, each with skills that could prove vital. They had all been affected by the attack, and now they shared a common goal: to take back their city and protect humanity. As Alex spoke, he could see the fear and uncertainty in their eyes. Many of them had lost loved ones, and trust was hard to come by. To bridge this gap, Alex began to introduce them to each other, highlighting their unique skills. This is Sarah, an engineer who worked on cloaking technology. And over there is Jake, a strategist who has experience in planning military operations. Among the group stood Bonner, a battle-hardened veteran with years of experience. He had witnessed countless battles and had lost many friends in the fight for humanity. When Alex turned to Bonner for guidance, he found a mentor willing to share his knowledge. Bonner's deep voice commanded respect, and as he spoke about resilience and teamwork, the survivors listened intently. "Listen up, everyone," Bonner began. "We can't let fear control us. We've been dealt a terrible blow, but we are not alone. Together we have the strength to fight back." His words ignited a spark of hope among the group. They began to realize that they could rely on one another. A bond formed between Alex and Bonner, built on mutual respect and a shared vision of a better future. With the group energized, Alex laid out a plan. "We've seen how advanced their technology is, but we can use it to our advantage. We need to salvage what we can from the wreckage." The survivors nodded, inspired by Alex's determination. "If we can get our hands on cloaking devices and AI disruptors, we can turn the tide in our favor. We may be small, but we are clever and resourceful." The room buzzed with excitement as ideas flowed. The engineers began discussing modifications they could make to the salvage technology. The strategists mapped out potential targets, and everyone felt a renewed sense of purpose. For the first time since the attack, they could see a glimmer of hope, a chance to reclaim their city and protect their people. As the planning session continued, Alex felt a deep sense of pride in the group. They were not just survivors anymore, they were a team united by a common cause. Together, they would take on the alien menace and fight for their future. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but they were ready to face whatever came next, fueled by the spirit of resilience that connected them all. The day of the mission had finally arrived. The resistance team gathered in the dimly lit basement of a ruined building, their faces tense with anticipation. They were preparing for a daring raid on a nearby alien outpost that had been responsible for much of the devastation in New Haven. Alex felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was their chance to strike back and show the aliens that humanity would not back down. "Remember, this is a stealth operation," Alex reminded the team as they checked their gear. "We have cloaking devices, so use them wisely. Our goal is to gather intelligence and take out key targets." The team nodded, their expressions serious. Each member understood the stakes involved, and a sense of camaraderie began to build among them. They were all in this together, ready to fight for their survival. As they moved out, Alex led the group through the crumbling streets, cloaked from sight. The city that had once been bustling with life was now eerily quiet, with only the distant sounds of alien machinery echoing through the air. The group maneuvered carefully, relying on each other's skills to avoid detection. Alex's heart raced as they approached the alien outpost, its towering structure looming ominously against the night sky. Upon reaching the perimeter, the team activated their cloaking devices, blending seamlessly into the shadows. The outpost was heavily guarded, but they had trained for this moment. They slipped past patrolling drones, moving like phantoms through the darkness. Adrenaline surged as they entered the main facility, ready to take action. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. The team split into smaller groups to cover more ground, each member equipped with weapons and devices to disable the alien security systems. Alex and Bonner worked together, navigating the narrow hallways while communicating silently. They could hear the low hum of alien technology and the distant sounds of guards speaking in an unfamiliar language. Just as they began to make progress, everything changed. Alarms blared, and red lights flashed throughout the outpost. "We've been spotted!" Alex shouted, his heart pounding. The team sprang into action, their cloaking devices flickering as they engaged in close-quarters combat with the aliens. The chaos erupted as blaster shots rang out, and the once stealthy mission turned into a frantic fight for survival. In the midst of the battle, Alex and Bonner found themselves surrounded. Bonner fought fiercely, taking down enemy soldiers with a skill that came from years of experience. Alex was in awe of his mentor's bravery, but felt the weight of fear as the odds began to stack against them. "We need to fall back," Alex yelled, but Bonner shook his head. "Not yet. We have to create an opening for the others." Bonner's determination shone through as he pushed forward, drawing enemy fire away from Alex. In a desperate moment, Bonner spotted a group of soldiers about to flank Alex. With no time to think, he charged at them, sacrificing his safety for Alex's chance to escape. "Bonner, no!" Alex shouted, his voice filled with anguish as he watched his friend and mentor fight valiantly. Bonner fought with everything he had, but the odds were too great. In a heart-wrenching moment, he fell to the ground, and Alex felt a surge of grief and anger. "Keep fighting!" Bonner shouted with his last breath, urging Alex to push on. Those words ignited a fire within Alex. He would honor Bonner's sacrifice. In that moment, Alex understood the true meaning of resilience. They were fighting for each other and for the fallen, and he vowed to lead the team to victory. With renewed determination, Alex rallied the remaining resistance members. "We can't let his sacrifice be in vain. We need to finish this." Fueled by the loss of his mentor, Alex charged forward, leading the team into the heart of the battle. The fight for humanity was far from over, and they would not stop until they had avenged their fallen comrades and reclaimed their city. After the chaotic raid on the alien outpost, the mood among the resistance team was somber. They had achieved some success, but at a terrible cost. Many of their friends and comrades had fallen, and Bonner's sacrifice weighed heavily on Alex's heart. As they returned to their hidden base, the atmosphere was thick with grief and uncertainty. Alex sat alone, staring at the ground. "Was it worth it?" he whispered to himself. Bonner had believed in the mission, but now Alex felt lost. The guilt of losing his mentor and friend gnawed at him. He questioned whether their fight against the aliens was truly meaningful. How could they continue when they had suffered such devastating losses? As the team mourned their fallen members, they began to salvage alien technology from the outpost. They were desperate for anything that could give them an advantage in their fight. While rummaging through the debris, one of the engineers stumbled upon a hidden compartment in the wall. With a mixture of curiosity and dread, they opened it to reveal a collection of schematics and data files. The team gathered around, intrigued by what they had found. As they pored over the documents, a chilling realization struck them. The aliens were developing an advanced AI superweapon capable of destroying entire human colonies in a single strike. The plans were detailed and precise, outlining a plan to eradicate human resistance once and for all. This revelation ignited a fire within the group. They could no longer afford to wallow in grief. Their fight had become personal. Alex stood up, a renewed sense of purpose flooding through him. He called the team together, ready to address their fears and doubts. "I know we've lost so much," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Bonner gave his life for us because he believed in this cause. We have to honor him by fighting back, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who will be affected by this superweapon." His words rang through the room, and he could see the flicker of hope returning to their eyes. "If we don't act now, the aliens will wipe out everything we love. We can't let their sacrifice go to waste. We have to unite, rally our strength, and strike before it's too late. Together, we can turn our pain into power and avenge those we've lost." Inspired by Alex's speech, the team felt a surge of determination. They were no longer just survivors, they were fighters, ready to take on the challenge ahead. The darkness that had settled over them began to lift, replaced by a collective resolve to stand against the alien threat. Together, they would honor Bonner's memory by becoming the resistance he had believed in. The fight for humanity had just begun.